How do I do this? Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas now at this point. Thanksgiving's over.
Right.
We hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. It is Start Sit Different Day. Of course, we didn't have our Wednesday show, so we can do a little bit of recap from our Thursday football games. No Ravens game. It has been pushed back to Tuesday. So be weary of starting any Ravens or Pittsburgh Steelers players. Of course, Lamar Jackson being on the COVID list. That Baltimore Ravens offense is going to be taking a huge hit in the upcoming game. Joining me,
they were
as
taking
always,
a huge hit anyway. So,
yeah.
I was not very confident starting any Baltimore Ravens players, regardless of whether Lamar was playing or not. So,
listen, I was ready for Trace McSorley to finally get his damn debut in the NFL.
Except we know it's going to be RG3. So
yeah, no, well, McSorley's on the COVID list, so that was a wash. That kind of sucks. But joining me, Josh and Ryan, as always, no Faith this morning in the depths of Georgia. She's, milking cows, I think. I don't know what she does in her free time. I see horses on her Twitter. I don't really know what's happening.
Based on last week, she might be raking leaves since the leaves were falling all over her during the show last week.
Yes, literally. It was a calming essence in the background, though, so it was nice. All right, for those that are new to joining here, obviously we're all here to answer your start sit questions. I mean, it's very simple by the name of the show, Start Sit Different Day. We're just doing it on a Saturday because we're different like that. But any questions you guys have, we are going to recap a little bit of the Thursday games while we wait for some of these questions to come in. And I mean, what two awful games we had yesterday. And I believe that we all kind of knew going into it that what?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Oh yeah, my God. I don't know what day it is. I woke up today thinking it was Sunday. I'm like, all right, it was great. Because yesterday there was a lot of college football games on, and I was fairly positive it was Saturday. Nope, it was Friday. So yes, 2 days ago, the Texans-Lions blowout. I mean, I don't know if anyone expected the Lions to actually win a game on Thanksgiving, because I think they're 2-7 the last 9 years, or there was some sort of record like that.
Yeah.
And then the Cowboys-Washington game was good in the first half, and then Antonio Gibson just decided to run for 3 touchdowns.
See, I'd argue it was better in the second half. I mean, both games I thought were insanely sloppy early. And made me want to turn the TV off. And then all the offense started in the second half, and it was great.
I say for fantasy purposes, it's better.
For fantasy purposes.
But for real football, when the games get out of control.
I mean, so in the first game, we saw a healthy mix of Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks. That seemed to be the entire offense for Houston. And then on Detroit's side, Adrian Peterson scores 2 touchdowns, and that's really their entire offense for the whole day. Hawkinson was close to or just eclipsed 100. I'm not sure what he did. But, I mean, 2 catches for 62 yards on the first drive, 1 based off of play action. But, I mean, when it comes to fantasy purposes, I think Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks and Deshaun Watson were really the only 3 that stood out. And then Duke Johnson saved his day with a 33-yard receiving touchdown. Yeah. Is there anyone we'll start with the first game, the first 2 teams, Detroit or Houston, anyone outside of the quarterbacks, Watson and Matt Stafford, and I'll keep Will Fuller's name out of the conversation because he's at this point, if he's healthy, you start him. Yeah, he's at this point, if he's healthy, you start him. So outside of those guys, is there anybody that is gonna help you win a league down the stretch that maybe people aren't talking about? And I'll discount Hawkinson as well, because Hawkinson at this point you're starting him almost every week. So is there anybody out of these 2 teams, the Texans and the Lions, that are actually going to help you down the stretch that aren't big names?
If DeAndre Swift were to keep missing time, I feel like Adrian Peterson's a guy you want on your team because it's clear they're going to run him. He got more carries than Kerryon Johnson. I think this is the second straight week for that. He obviously found the end zone twice, and you're not always going to see that. Houston has a pretty terrible run D, but he's a consistent running back. He's just not going to offer anything in the passing game whatsoever. But Swift isn't going to miss much time. He's going to be on a 10-day break now, coming back from a concussion, and he's going to be back in week 13. So On Detroit, no. I mean, I've been down on Marvin Jones even with this Kenny Golladay injury. I mean, I'm not discounting Kenny Golladay. Kenny Golladay is going to come back, and he's going to be a solid wide receiver in fantasy football.
Are we sure he's going to come back?
That's the thing.
I mean, he obviously wants a contract extension. He's, I feel like he's kind of milking this injury. Again, I don't know. I'm not the medical guy that's looking things over. Kind of feels that way, though, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to come back, doesn't come back, labeled week to week, keeps missing time. At this point, like, we've seen guys opting out of this year to kind of, make sure that they're healthy going into next year. This could be his way of pseudo opting out.
I mean, then you see Stafford's popped up on the COVID list twice. You see teams like the Ravens being absolutely decimated because their center ends up with COVID. That could be something weighing on his mind where it's like, why even risk it at this point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Lions season is lost. He doesn't have a contract for next year. So, I mean, his stats aren't going to be much better if he plays. So,
yeah, there's at this point, we talked about it with Zeke, and we'll get to it in the next one, but Zeke could milk his injury and just say, I'm not playing the rest of the season because his team sucks. There's no chance they make the playoffs at this point.
Zeke is killing. I was going to get into the next game, though. Zeke is killing his own reputation right now.
Dude, 6 fumbles, 5 lost on the season. And look, he didn't play well against Washington a few weeks ago anyway. Washington has a great front seven, and everyone forgets that. So he clearly still has the burst because he's shown that the last couple of weeks. He has the burst. He has the power. But if you look at just this season, Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, who would you think is the Cowboys running back one?
Tony Pollard. Without
Tony Pollard.
Just from watching on Thanksgiving in a blowout, it's Tony Pollard.
Because Tony Pollard, it just – and this could be because Zeke realizes the year is over for them. Because to start the season, as bad as Zeke was, he was still averaging like 15, 16 fantasy points up until Dak Prescott was injured.
Yeah.
So he was still having a decent fantasy season. I believe he was a top 5 running back in fantasy until Dak was injured in week 5. So, but now it just seems like Pollard the entire season has shown that he is running hard every single play, whereas Zeke is not.
Hey, he's a young guy trying to prove himself.
Yeah.
Zeke's already got paid. That guaranteed money for next year is already cashed out.
Yep.
Correct.
He's locked in. He's getting paid regardless. So,
and if Tony Pollard becomes a free agent, I would think there's probably over half the league would say I want him as my starting running back.
I mean, he's still 2 years on his rookie contract though.
Yeah.
So
no, correct. And exactly, that's my point. Is but like say, all right, they cut him for some stupid reason. They cut him. Pollard would be a starting running back on most teams. If not, he would be a 1B.
And here's what would be interesting, and I think we'd all agree on this. If they cut Tony Pollard and Zeke, I think the market's bigger for Pollard right now just because of the money you would have to pay him and what you would get from him.
You'd get Pollard on a 3-year, $5 million annually, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say 12 to 15 million.
Well, but the difference is a team could go through and sign Zeke for the minimum because Zeke's getting paid from Dallas anyway. So anything that he signs for just offsets what Dallas has to pay him. So he can literally
it's guaranteed.
He could sign for. It's kind of similar to what Todd Gurley did, right? Todd Gurley getting all that money from the Rams. So anything that he got paid from the Falcons this year offsets what the Rams have to pay him. So
that makes sense.
It doesn't. I don't know. They're not. The Cowboys aren't moving on from Zeke. Plain and
simple. No. That was just a dumb hypothetical. The one thing that I find interesting in this, though, is the guy who clearly makes that offense go is the one who doesn't have a contract.
Well, at the same token, too, I saw a tweet. I can't remember who it was from, so I'm sorry if I'm not giving credit where credit's due. But they went through and they listed out like all the years and how many fumbles and everything for 2 different players. One was Zeke. The other was Adrian Peterson. It's like these guys are talented. Sure, they have some issues. You're going to work through it because of the talent.
Well, and it's when you have guys like that, they fight to keep plays alive, which then makes the ball more vulnerable. And there's just a lot more that goes into it too. So
I mean, I get that. Obviously, ball security is important.
But I can't remember a time Adrian Peterson looked this bad.
I can't remember a time that Adrian Peterson was as effective in the passing game as Zeke was or has been.
I mean,
So you
Adrian
think he's good
Peterson
with
didn't.
that?
No, sure. Okay, you're frozen. So while you're frozen, I'll talk. Adrian Peterson grew up in a league that didn't require running backs to catch the football. It was LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, and that's it. Those were the only guys that would catch passes out of the backfield consistently and do it, especially at a high fantasy football level.
Yeah.
AP is a Walter Payton, Jim
Throwback.
Brown type running back. Yeah, he's a throwback running back. He was never required to catch the football. Minnesota never used him that way. And there was no reason to. Like, that wasn't a thing back then. So Zeke grows up in a time where, yes, he needs to catch the football. And he's grown better in that role.
One of the big things about Zeke coming out of college was that he was a true 4-down running back, that he was going to be able to play no matter what the situation was. So.
Correct. Yeah. No, and it's just, I can't remember this bad of a year out of Adrian Peterson. Yes, he's obviously had his fumble issues, no doubt. But I can't remember this bad of just the ineffectiveness.
Yeah.
Take out the fumbles, the ineffectiveness. Ezekiel Elliott, every year we go in top 5 running back in the NFL.
Yep.
He barely looks like he's a top 10 running back this season.
It'll be real interesting to see what happens with his ADP next year.
I don't think it goes anywhere. I think people
I don't
just
think
kind
so
of
either.
I think they wiped the season away. What was he this year? He was the RB3, RB4 off the board. It was
Well, there were people pushing him ahead of Saquon, so you could argue RB2 occasionally as well.
I did that.
I took him over Saquon in one of my leagues. I did, so I'll agree with that. So he was in between 2 and 4.
And let's be honest, he's outperformed Saquon this year. So
Well, yeah. Well, let's say so.
That's a Joe argument right there.
That is a Joe argument. I have taught Josh well. Well,
hey, you do enough shows with a guy, you pick up a few things, right?
Yes. Before we get into some of these questions, because that's a good point. Let's bring this up. Let's play the hypothetical game. The RB1 next year is Christian McCaffrey.
Without a doubt.
Is there any like?
I mean, I think
on
people
that?
will obviously make an argument for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
He
So
hasn't been hurt the way that CMC has.
Which
sure.
means it's
So
coming.
you want to play. Let's play the 1-2 game. So they're RB1 and 2. Flip flop them however you want, because people had that with Barkley and McCaffrey this year.
Correct.
RB3, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and I think some people might even. I think the top 3. I think you're going to see people that will waffle between Cook, Kamara, and McCaffrey.
Yeah, you're scared of the McCaffrey.
I mean, right now there's 2 running backs in the NFL. Well, I guess 3 if you want to include McCaffrey, even though he's only played 3 or 4 games, that are averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. And it's Cook and Kamara. And again, McCaffrey, I think, averages like 30 fantasy points a game right now, which is just
stupid.
And another name, and he's not going to get brought up because of his use in the passing game, but Derrick Henry is doing it again. Over 1,000 yards, leading the NFL in rushing already, and he's a game back.
And 10 games into the season, or 11 games, whatever it is, already over 200 carries. Like, that's not. I understand he's just built differently. I get it, but like, he could very well end this year with close to, if not more than, 400 carries.
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone goes into next year saying, you know what, I want that guy as my number 1 on my fantasy squad. Like, that's just a breakdown waiting to happen. And I would much rather be wrong on that than right.
Yeah, and that's the concern there. Is he going to DeMarco Murray this whole thing? So
yeah.
Well, Michael even brought it up, I think, just as we were talking about it, Derrick Henry. Yeah, no, and I was going to bring up just, Josh, you said it, he might have 400 carries by the end of the season. The sheer volume he
and
gets.
Then factor in what he does in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Correct. The fantasy playoffs is huge. Yes.
No, I'm saying NFL.
Oh, the real playoffs.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's more usage on top of that.
I think just as a fantasy owner in Dynasty, I would try and get rid of him at this point. But as in redraft, the sheer volume, like earlier this year, he wasn't super effective with his carries. He had 31 carries for like 118
yards. Yeah, he was
yards
averaging less than yards to carry. It was pretty.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't very effective. But the thing is, he gets 25 plus carries a game. So he's
when you look at the raw
volume.
fantasy stats, it's not going to matter his ineffectiveness. He's a wrecking ball, but for you, it's going to work, especially in those 100-point bonus leagues. He's a god in those 100-point bonus leagues. So.
Correct. So you're looking at Henry could sneak into the top 4. Is your 5 Zeke? Like, is Nick Chubb now in that conversation? Because I think Chubb should be in that conversation.
A healthy Nick Chubb, and I know you guys don't like him, or at least not as much as I do. I would consider Josh Jacobs over Zeke. He is still the guy there. He doesn't get the passing game work, but
it's for me with Jacobs, it's all about the touchdowns.
Yeah.
And for me, he does it more so in bunches than it's like one here, one there. It's like 2, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 0.
Whereas a healthy Zeke is doing
it's one every game. Give or take.
And I want to get to the questions after this, but I said this earlier in the year that if you could guarantee me Josh Jacobs, because right now he's probably playing around 70% of the snaps.
Yeah, he's not out there much. I mean,
not out there much.
Not out there as much as a bell cow.
He's still averaging. He's doing better this year in the passing game than last year.
Yes, 100%.
The biggest takeaway for me this year. So I think that gives me more confidence next year
for 2021.
Devontae Booker's only the 1-year deal. Who knows if he's coming back? Like, I don't.
No, sure. And
Booker strikes me as the kind who might strike gold and get to go be a backup somewhere else where he thinks he's going to get more carries.
Yeah, he might take a 2 or 3 year deal, $10 million, something like that. Like,
But my point with Jacobs is if you can guarantee me he sees on average 85% of the snaps, he's a top 5 running back.
Oh, absolutely.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. Because at that point, he gets 15% more of the snaps that he has now. I would venture to say he probably gets in those snaps 5 to 7 more touches. So at that point, you average everything out, he's going to be a top 5 running back at that point. But right now, you can't guarantee me he gets 85%. If it's him and Jalen Richard in the backfield next year, top 5 running back, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right.
Real quick. And I think the biggest thing, too, that people may not want to realize yet with this Raiders offense, they were going into this basically starting 2 rookie wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both Edwards and Ruggs.
Slow. Yeah, both got off slow because of injuries. Brian Edwards has only played 4 full games. That's why we're seeing so much of Nelson Aguilar. Aguilar is only on a 1-year deal. He probably moves on. They move forward with Edwards. Henry Ruggs, we know exactly what Henry Ruggs is. He's a deep threat that's going to pull away from defensive coverages, right? Taking that 2nd-year leap, that's only going to make Josh Jacobs better.
Exactly. That was the point I was going to hit if we wanted to keep harping on it. Was I think those receivers improving is going to make Jacobs a further asset because you're going to start seeing OPI calls for Edwards and Tyreek Hill on the 1-yard line, and those are going to lead to Jacobs touchdowns. Because what's happening right now, I've been watching, I have Jacobs in a lot of leagues, is they're pounding Jacobs between the 20s, and he's getting tired when they get up to the 5-yard line, and that's why you're seeing Booker where you're seeing Booker. So
yeah, like the Raiders, as much as I hate to say it, have a really good offense for the future.
And Derek Carr is finally looking like, hey, I know this offense like the back of my hand.
Yep.
Again, I don't think his upside is really there. He's only had 3 really good weeks in fantasy purposes. Both have come against Kansas City. Outside of that, he's the top 18 guy. Like,
but for straight football purposes, he's perfect for that team.
Yep.
Perfect for that team. All right, first question here from MathQuest over on YouTube. How will Taysom Hill fare in his encore against a much tougher opponent on the road in Denver? Well, if you listened to me last week, I told you not to play Tua Tagovailoa and he got benched. So I'm not saying Taysom Hill isn't going to play well in Denver.
So you're calling for the Taysom Hill bench?
Listen, the difference is he's going to get 50 yards and probably a touchdown on the ground.
That's the biggest thing.
It's the Tebow effect.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like he's guaranteed 11 points based on a running touchdown and 50 yards on the ground. So that would name me 11 points at this point. He's going to get you what? QB 18.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's going to take
floor. Absolutely.
Extremely safe
rushing is when you factor in his rushing, it's very close to what Kyler Murray is going to give you week in and week out.
Correct. I have him as my throw the football that bunch.
Yeah, I have him as my QB 18 right now, scoring 2 touchdowns. Could he score 3 against Denver? Absolutely. But could he score 1 against Denver? Absolutely. So Easily. It could go either way. So he's a risky back end QB1.
Yeah, I mean, if you're up against it and you don't have anybody else, I don't think Taysom Hill is a bad start by any means. Where did he play school? BYU, correct?
Yeah.
And where's BYU? That's in Utah, right?
Utah. Yep.
Okay. So he's played at that altitude before. So I don't think he's going to have any issue up there. In Utah, I believe BYU is situated higher than Denver.
If you happen to be in a 4-point passing TD league, he's a much better play than he is in a 6-point.
6-point. Yeah, no, that's a good point there.
Yeah, I don't think Chris actually asked me about Taysom Hill, and I told him basically, Joe, I used your argument. It was like, hey, these young QBs going into Denver, they struggle. We've seen it. We've also seen the exception of the rule, I guess, with Justin Herbert.
Herbert's been the only exception.
I understand Hill isn't a young QB. He's 30, but this is his second start now.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of play those variables. Obviously, New Orleans being a dome team going outdoors, that's going to affect the offense, and we've seen that happen before. So I think there's definitely some wiggle room in terms of what he could do. The floor is there from the rushing perspective. But to me, it all depends on your other options. And I think he's a much better DFS play because he's cheap among quarterbacks that you can load up with guys like a Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, if you're looking that way. That's where I would look at Hill personally versus putting him in a lineup that I'm looking to get into the fantasy playoffs with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taysom Hill he's going to be the one guy on that offense that isn't going to care that they're playing in Denver. Like I said, he played at BYU. He's played in the weather. He's played in Utah. That's perfectly fine. He's played at that altitude as well. New Orleans hasn't been to Denver in 8 years. So there's not a single person on that team that has played in Denver in a Saints uniform. So you're looking at it. Yeah, there may be 2 or 3 guys on the defense, maybe a couple guys on the offense that have played in Denver before. But overall, none of them played in Denver. Emmanuel Sanders has played in Denver, so maybe he has a decent game.
Yeah.
But again, you're looking at it, Michael Thomas has never played in Denver. Alvin Kamara has never played in Denver. It is hard to breathe a mile high in the air. Yep. So these guys are going to get worn out faster. I don't think Taysom Hill is going to have an issue, but again, he's the quarterback who's going to be able to throw to.
I think a big thing that's Go ahead. Well, I think a big thing that's going to you go.
I was going to say, I think QB 18 is a good spot for him. Go, Ryan.
I think a big thing that's going to help them is their defense is really good, and they're going to beat up on that offense, and they're not going to have to do as much as you would in a normal game. So,
correct. Yeah, no, 100%. Josh, you can add her. Go ahead. You have the power.
I know. You were talking.
There she is.
Hello, friend.
Hello.
Morning, Faye.
You better not be driving.
I'm sitting in the back seat.
Okay.
She's in the back seat.
Oh, come on. Streaming and driving, that's what all the cool kids do.
Yeah. You do that in your Tesla.
That's right.
Yeah. Correct.
Faith has it.
Joe,
like that.
did you just wake up, Joe?
No.
Of course you did.
Oh, of course you
I didn't
did.
just wake up. It's Eastern time. I'm an hour behind this, so I woke up at 9. I woke up at 9.
Woo!
Yeah, it was nice.
Cold, Joe?
No, it's not that bad. Not that bad up here. Can't complain.
Yeah, not that bad. I'd be shivering. Yeah.
It's 40 degrees outside. No wind. It's beautiful.
I'd be bundled up in
beautiful.
I say it's toasty.
Yeah, so ask Ryan how 40 degrees and no wind is in the Northeast.
It's great.
Beautiful. Oh my god.
It's shorts weather. Exactly.
Yeah. My friends and I are having a bonfire tonight in 30-degree weather. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. Maggie's going to freeze her ass off, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
She's a Floridian, like
just put her closer to the fire.
We'll hold her on top, and she'll be on like one of those rotating things. I think that'll help.
We are now roasting our graphics person like a pig.
Yes, correct.
Just like it's okay. You have me. We're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, Faith's here. We can answer a couple questions, unless you got to go,
No,
Faith.
Faith's
You just
out
want
because Faith is like 0.2 signal because we're in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say hi and bye.
Hi, Faith. Bye, Faith.
Bye, Faith.
In the middle of Georgia. I thought there were cell towers in the middle of Georgia. No. All right. From Michael, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert in the same game. It is in Buffalo, and I checked the weather.
I love that he has to ask this every week.
Yeah.
No, the one he asks us every week is Lamar and Big Ben.
Oh, yeah.
That
Well,
is for him. So.
Well, guess what the next question is? We'll get there in a second. But they're playing against each other, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. The game is in Buffalo. It is supposed to be 43 and sunny, not a lot of wind. So this could be a very high-scoring affair. Who would you rather have, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert?
Herbert. With John Brown out, Josh Allen's numbers, he's putting up like 9 less fantasy points per game without John Brown in the lineup. And John Brown is not playing this week. So, yeah, I would roll. Honestly, even if John Brown was in, I would play Herbert. Herbert to me is one of the absolute most safe quarterbacks to play right now. So, yeah. Herbert.
I have been putting up very similar numbers, but Allen wins because of the rushing game. I actually have him scoring a rushing touchdown this week. Allen is my QB1 when it's all said and done. So I would go Josh Allen. However, if it comes out today or tomorrow morning that Austin Eckler is playing in this game, I would flip to Herbert.
I'm just gonna. I've consistently said Josh Allen sucks at football, so Justin Herbert.
Stick with it.
I'm gonna.
There is nothing wrong with starting Herbert. If you want a consensus, I'm with Herbert. But if Eckler is in this game, it's Herbert for sure.
If I'm being honest with you, I think they both put up 30+ points. So you're safe either way. Yeah, you're safe either way. But I would go. Herbert has just been more consistent.
For what it's worth, Chargers defense gets Chris Harris back this week.
Oh my God, the 35-year-old Chris Harris.
Like I said, for what it's worth. I didn't say it was a good bad thing. So.
Stephon Diggs might go for $199 instead of $200.
Yeah, it's not worth anything at this point. All right, and then of course the Lamar Big Ben issue. Now, obviously, this game is on Tuesday. Lamar is out, so Big Ben is his de facto starter. But if the game gets canceled, does he plug and play someone else to be safe? Personally, I would pick someone else up. Do not play Ben Roethlisberger on a Tuesday night.
Even if I thought that game was sure to be played, I benched Roethlisberger in all my leagues this week before any of this went down. I don't trust him against that Ravens defense. I think he scored 13 fantasy points against them last time they played.
Wasn't good.
If you have the roster spot, go get someone else. Go get Daniel Jones. Go get Derek Carr.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. I second that. I picked up Daniel Jones in multiple leagues. From Fusion, good morning, gents. Good morning, Fusion. We appreciate you. Thoughts on Raheem Mostert? I have already advised someone to not play Raheem Mostert.
Is he back?
He is supposed to be activated off of IR, and he should be back. So it's going to be, Mostert's going to be the bell cow in that backfield. They play in Los Angeles against the Rams. I said I don't like it. But to me, you drafted Mostert to be what? Your RB3, RB4? I don't think he was drafted to be a starter on your team.
He was an RB2.
Nah, he was an RB2.
Yeah.
Oh, I got him as my RB5. So,
you're awesome, Joe. Right. Some of us didn't.
In my drafts, he wasn't going that high. So that's what I was seeing. But I personally don't love the matchup. That's just me. Aaron Donald is too good. It's that simple. You need 3 players to block Aaron Donald. It's that simple. And Micah Kaiser looked good last week against Tampa.
I get it that the matchup isn't great, but for me, if you've got Mostert and you don't have better options, play him because they're going to give him the football. They use him in so many ways. His speed is absolutely electric. And when he has played this year, he has looked dynamic.
Yeah, I have him as a mid RB2, so he's very playable. I'm not concerned about him. I just didn't know for sure he was back yet. I hadn't heard that. So
yeah, I believe, again, I haven't heard anything either, but my brother who has him on his team asked me about Raheem Mostert, and I didn't know he was back. He told me that he should be activated off. I said
there's actually a few players like that, Joe. We never hit the injuries. If we want to take a quick break and you want to run through those, there are a few players that are like that right now. So
yes,
right now they're saying he's questionable.
Okay.
So we can get a few more questions in here. Well, at least he's been activated off IR, so that's good. But all right, so yeah, some of these injuries here. God, we have over a page. We're back to normal
this week. Yeah,
we're back to normal. Joey Burrow, Rex Burkhead, Greg Olsen, all done for the season. Randall Cobb and LaMichael Pirine to IR, but they could return. And Larry Fitzgerald is on the COVID IR list. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Every single Baltimore Raven under the sun is on the COVID list at this point. But Lamar Jackson's not going to play. There's a slight chance that J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram will play, but most likely will not know until Monday. Essentially, just stay away from that game at all costs. Brandon Ayuk and Adam Thielen, they're both still on the COVID IR, and they should find out today if they can play, so monitor that. But the official tags this week, questionable. Tua Tagovailoa, Phillip Rivers, Gardner Minshew, doesn't matter. Mike Glennon's going to start. Christian McCaffrey, Giovanni Bernard, Kalen Ballage, and we should find out today if Austin Eckler returns. Julio Jones, who did not practice yesterday but was in limited fashion Wednesday and Thursday. N'Keal Harry, Jerry Jeudy, Zach Pascal, Hayden Hurst, Jordan Reed, and Tyler Higbee. Doubtful, Nick Foles. Trubisky is officially the starter Sunday night in Green Bay. That was announced, I believe, yesterday officially by Matt Nagy. And Irv Smith is doubtful against the Panthers. Out. Todd Gurley, Salvin Ahmed. Should find out today if Myles Gaskin is going to return from IR. Tevin Coleman. And as Ryan put it,
I had the Mostert note in there. Yep.
Yeah. DJ Chark, Chris Conley, Adam Humphries, John Brown, and Daryl Daniels, and Ryan puts Josh needs to know that with a couple of laughing.
I added the guy. Funny, Ryan. Funny.
Yes. Okay, so Josh added that. Yes, Daryl Daniels. Hey, he has touchdown upside.
Yeah.
At this point, if he scores a touchdown, he's a tight end one. Like Durham Smythe has been a tight end one at this point. So, yeah, utterly insane. My buddy Will, he has been asking for his water bottle back for 2.5 years now.
Well, now that you're home, give it to him. Jesus.
Yeah. Will, I'm home. I'm home until Sunday. You know where I live. Come over.
But he also has COVID, Will.
I don't have the COVID. I don't have the COVID.
Damn, that's rude. How are we joking about that? Jesus.
I don't have the COVID. My grandmother has the COVID. My aunt just got off. She's fine. My aunt just got off the COVID. I think that's all in my family that has the COVID, but I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. We dropped some soup off at the hospital for my grandmother last night. And then went bowling. So it was a good time. From Jeremy. I think this is new. Hi, Jeremy. I think you're a first timer unless you're under a different name, but standard. Wait and risk Chase Claypool or play Jalen Reagor to be safe. He's playing someone that has Will Fuller.
Here's the
so he needs tremendous upside.
Here's the plus side to this. Reagor plays Monday night.
Yes, so you can literally wait until Monday morning.
Claypool in your lineup, and you should know by Monday night whether or not this game is a go for Tuesday. Like, I don't think they're going to cancel it the day of.
I'm just going to add this in there. If there's a positive COVID test on Tuesday morning.
All right, I understand that. If I get it. But to me, this is the safest way that you could possibly play this type of
thing.
Because you have a Monday night game.
Yep.
Now, granted, this is a fantastic matchup for Reagor. He's one of my upside guys. I honestly do not have that much confidence. Carson Wentz looks like dog shit. And that's coming from an Eagles fan. Okay. There's already, but like I read a whole thing from Mike K on NewJersey.com today. Like there's players speaking anonymously to newspaper reporters that they don't have confidence in Carson Wentz. Wow. That is not good.
Can I put this out there? I had every single Eagles wide receiver as my downside last week, and I swept the board with them. None of them finished inside the top 40. So, yes, Cleveland, shitty weather, understand.
Yeah.
But I think, and Josh, you talked about the place of the offensive line as well. The line hasn't been healthy.
And now Carson's out. Now, the upside to this, they finally smartened up and moved Jason Peters inside to right guard. They're going to roll with Myla at left tackle, which is good. Yeah, that was announced this week. But now Lane Johnson's out at right tackle. So you're dealing with a backup there. You did get your guard, Isaac Samalu, back last week. So now you've got Samalu with Mailata. That's iffy. Kelsey's still there in the middle. Peters, who's never really played right guard, even though he practiced there. Like, there's still a lot of uncertainty and question marks in front of Carson Wentz.
And they already give up the most sacks in the league and most
this
turnovers.
was actually a point that I wrote about this week on my confidence plays when I had Carson Wentz as a downside. Since Seattle acquired Carlos Dunlap in week 9, or technically they acquired him week 8. He first played in week 9 was when they got Jamal Adams back as well. Seattle has 15 sacks over the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
That was not a stat that was even on the board over the first 8 weeks for Seattle. They were awful. They
probably didn't have 15 sacks in those 8 weeks.
Yeah,
So.
They could not get any pressure. Now they are getting pressure on the quarterback. You're going to throw that type of pressure at a dog shit offensive line, at a quarterback who has been noticeably skittish the entire year and leads the NFL in interceptions. This is not a great game, mind you, at all for the Eagles. They will probably lose. Carson will probably have 3 turnovers. The upside is that they're going to have to throw the football.
Exactly. That's the only point I was going to chime in with.
Hopefully Rager comes in with something. But again, this is your best case scenario, Jeremy. Monday night guy with a Tuesday potential game. I would say risk it. Leave Rager or leave Claypool in. If you need to pivot last minute, you have the ability to do that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've been standing for Rager for a month now. If it doesn't happen this week, he's a full drop at this point because
the upside is that the last 2 weeks he is tied with the most targets with Goddard and Fulgham in terms of Eagles weapons.
But you also see you might see Ertz back this week too. So
I wouldn't count on that.
Well, whether you count on it or not, in the future he's going to soak up targets that it would have normally went to other people. So
yeah, and part of that article that I read, Wentz trusts the tight end position more than wide receivers.
Yeah.
And we saw that last week. Richard Rodgers and Dallas Goedert ripped up that secondary. But just putting this out here for Carson Wentz. He has less yards per game than Ryan Fitzpatrick. His completion percentage is 32nd out of 33 eligible quarterbacks, second to last in front of Drew Lock and behind Sam Darnold.
Real quick, weren't you the one that said that completion percentage is a stupid stat?
Yeah, what a bullshit stat.
Yeah, it's a bullshit stat until it fits my narrative.
Exactly.
That's the Boston sports take. It's a bullshit narrative. No, it is a terrible stat. Completion percentage is a shitty stat because Drew Brees has a 73% completion percentage, and we judge that as best quarterback in the league. Like that's not the case. Like Patrick Mahomes has a 67% completion percentage, and that's 15th in the league. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's not judge off completion percentage here. That's why I think it's a shitty stat. But from Michael, another one from Michael.
Of completion percentage, but that's okay.
Yeah, we are. Because Carson Wentz is garbage. That's essentially what I'm judging it off of.
Man, Michael with the quarterback trouble this week.
Yes, this is to replace Big Ben in a 14 team. Well, you can't pick up Alex Smith.
Yeah.
So Sam Darnold, RG3, which is in the same game, or Mike Glennon.
No.
I was gonna say I don't hate Darnold this week.
I don't either.
We know he's just gonna pepper Jamison Crowder with targets, and I will say I'm buying into Denzel Mims this week. I'm very interested.
I'm not.
In what happen.
I'm not. The past 2 weeks have been with Joe Flacco.
No, I know, and we know that Sam Darnold's a better quarterback.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Joe Flacco might like Denzel Mims. Sam Darnold may not like Denzel Mims.
I mean, it's true. We don't know. Yeah,
that's my point is quarterbacks play favorites. It's whether you want to believe it or not, quarterbacks play favorites. Darnold may not have that rapport that Mims has with Flacco because Flacco was the backup. Mims was also a backup. So it's like we're talking about the backup connection, Brett Whippen and Tim Patrick. We saw that against the Jets. Mm-hmm. So it's like Flacco has 15 targets to Mims the past 2 weeks. Joe Flacco's not playing this week. If Sam Darnold does the same, if Sam Darnold has seven or 8 targets to Denzel Mims, I'll buy in. But the issue is, I don't know if that's going to happen. Josh, we already know Jamison Crowder is getting 15 targets. Whether he's open or not, Darnold's throwing him the football.
Yeah.
Whether he's open or not.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you're running the risk of do I risk it with Big Ben going into Tuesday?
Correct.
And I don't think that there's a better ceiling one way or the other with Ben or Darnold this week. Honestly, I mean both are facing good defenses.
I think Darnold has a higher upside because he can run.
Let me throw this at you, Josh. What if Wentz is out there? Is it worth playing the game we just talked about with Rager to Claypool to grab Wentz, have that Monday pivot to go back to Big Ben?
He's talking about a 14-team league, so probably not.
Yeah, okay. He's not.
But for any other situation,
I would rather Carson Wentz than Big Ben.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't love it because I
just throwing it out there.
I think both have the same turnover upside or downside, if you want it that way. Like, we know that Darnold has ball security issues. This is dating all the way back to USC. Carson Wentz over the last 3 years he can't hold on to the football, whether it's turning it over via fumble or targeting the other team. And those interception totals have gotten worse this year. Ben's not going to turn the ball over, but I also don't think he's going to explode for 5 touchdowns. I mean, it could happen. I haven't really looked at, how many of these COVID cases have happened on defense. So, the Ravens defense could still be on the field at full capacity for the most part. I know that Calais Campbell's outside of that.
I think Brandon Williams as well, their top 2 defensive tackle.
Yeah, so that tells me they're going to be able to run the football. That's James Conner. So, whether or not Connor's effective at it, I don't know, because the last couple of weeks he's had plus matchups and hasn't done much with it. So, yeah,
I would go in this question, Sam Darnold. He's played in 6 games. He's thrown 6 interceptions. Just know you're starting Sam Darnold -4 points because Ozari fumbles as well. You're starting Sam Darnold -4 points. You got to hope he runs for a touchdown because I think that's a very legit possibility, whereas Big Ben is not going to be able to move his ass anywhere out of the pocket. So you got to hope that Darnold potentially even runs for 40 yards to cancel that out. But, I mean, New York's going to be throwing the football. And if Joe Flacco can put up 26 points on the Chargers, I think Sam Darnold can do maybe put 20 on the Dolphins. So I would go Darnold because if it's between Darnold and Mike Glennon,
Darnold.
You take Sam Darnold. That's no doubt. I would go Sam Darnold. I think him and Roethlisberger probably do the same thing, and we know Sam Darnold is playing on Sunday.
Only thing I want to throw at you, I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind because his top 2 wide receivers are out. But Garrett's still out. Denzel Ward's out. That Taki kid who just did the pick 6 last week is out for the Browns. The Browns defense is depleted. Any love for Glenn in that way or still no?
No, especially not with Conley and Shark. They're both out.
Yeah,
Glenn, I was looking back at his last starts, which were with Chicago. He dumps off to running backs a ton, looks at tight ends, and had exactly 1 passing touchdown in each of his 4 starts.
Yep, and that touchdown's going to Tyler Eifert this week.
There's zero upside with Mike Glennon. Zero.
I was someone that thought Mike Glennon should get his shot to start when he had a couple good games as a backup. He clearly isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL.
The only player I would be remotely willing to start on Jacksonville is James Robinson. That's it.
No, I think I would agree with you guys and go Darnold. There's weapons there between Mims and Crowder, and even Herndon got involved last week. So
Rashad Perryman.
Yeah.
So, I think is he out this week? Because I know he was banged up.
He was not on any of my lists, so I think he's good. I don't even think he popped as questionable.
Yeah. All right, from Patty, smiley face. I think new one as well. Thanks for joining, Patty. Kalen Ballage or risk Chris Carson or Frank Gore? Ballage is questionable.
Ballage is questionable. And Eckler is also questionable, which would just destroy Ballage.
Destroy Ballage.
Yep.
Chris Carson is still questionable, correct?
Yeah, they listed him as a limited. They listed him as a limited participant on Thursday, but it was a non-practice, so it was a virtual limited participant. So
okay, so you're.
I mean, we're talking revenge game with Frank Gore, right?
Aren't they all?
Aren't they all?
With here right now, we know Gore's going to get touches.
If I'm choosing out of those 3, I'm playing Chris Carson. I think he's back this week, and I think
he is too.
Yeah, I think he's out.
Yeah, I would.
you're risking it because he's on Monday night. That's the problem.
Look,
And
so
if you don't
here's
have
what I
a
would do.
pivot, Then
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. If you can go out and get a healthy Seattle running back, if Austin Eckler is pronounced in, drop Kalen Ballage immediately, pick up a healthy Seahawks running back. That way, if Chris Carson doesn't play, yes, the healthy Seahawks running back may be a Bo Scarborough, but Bo Scarborough putting up 2 points is better than Chris Carson putting up 0.
You want an outside shot for a touchdown this week? Go grab Jordan Howard.
Correct, Jordan Howard, but the Eagles, that's a good one as well. Yep. McSweet, thank you. My hair is, I woke up like this, didn't do anything to it. Appreciate you. B. Bo Ravets. I am so sorry, I mispronounced that. But which tight end, rest of season in a standard, Dallas Goedert or Jonnu Smith? Also, T. Higgins or Corey Davis rest of season? Well, the receiver is T. Higgins, and we all agree on that. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, Ryan Finley. I take that back.
no, not even Ryan Finley. It's Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen. They went
Who?
straight to their practice squad. The kid who was in Denver last year started 3 games. So.
Who? Okay, so Corey. Okay, wait and see how Brandon Allen plays. I'll say that because we don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Allen loves T. Higgins.
That's what I say.
So-
I don't trust Higgins right now, but you definitely want to. And the Giants are the perfect game to see how that's going to play out. So
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think this is going to be one of those where we're going to find out if T. Higgins is quote unquote QB proof. That's what we're going to find out.
Yes, that's what we will find out. And then between Goddard and Jonnu Smith, I go Dallas Goedert. Jonnu Smith has given me no reason to believe in him. Neither has
Or the
Dallas
touchdown.
Goedert.
I say because it's a
Congratulations.
standard, I think
Because it's
John
standard, I would
has the
think
touchdown
Jonnu
upside.
touchdown
Yeah,
upside.
he could score a rushing touchdown every week for Christ's sake.
That's
Like,
true.
how they
And
like
they
to
target
do
him in the
it.
red zone, whether it's on passes or rushing. So
I hate saying rest of season because to me,
Well, I'll give you that
with-
because I'm the streaming guy. Like there is no
but
rest. of
it's not
season.
even that with tight ends. BB, I'm just gonna call you BB because those are the first 2 letters. With tight ends, if it's not Kelsey, Kittle,
Waller.
Hawkinson and Fant haven't entered that conversation yet. But if it's not Waller, Kittle, or Kelsey,
and
This
Kittle's
season,
you're
hurt.
playing
Hawkinson
matchup.
has, yeah.
you're playing matchup because Goddard may have a great matchup, and Smith may have a terrible matchup, and you have 2 solid tight ends on your roster. Play the matchup.
His name is Blake, by the way. He just put
Blake?
that in the
Okay.
chat for us. Yes.
Perfect. All right, got you. All right, Blake,
Welcome,
that's
Blake.
easy. Welcome, Blake. Yeah, that's easy. I can do Blake.
In all honesty, if you don't need the roster spot, you want to hold both and play the matchups. Joe's absolutely
Correct.
right. So
Correct. Yep.
especially,
100%.
and I know Josh isn't buying much into this. I want to see what Goddard and Ertz look like together, healthy, all that kind of fun stuff. So
I'm going to add this up because Richard Rodgers has outplayed Goddard the last 2 weeks. Like if you put total points, I'm pretty sure, if not, they've been relatively even because 2 weeks ago, Richard Rodgers destroyed Dallas.
I'm just going to throw something out real quick. I don't think it's Richard Rodgers. I think it's the tight end 2 outproducing the tight end 1, which can happen in this offense a lot. So
That's my point is Dallas Goedert's playing the Zach Ertz role and Rodgers is playing the Dallas Goedert role.
there you go.
That's why Rodgers is outperforming. Yeah, that you took the
No,
words out of my mouth.
and
That's my
again,
point.
going back to that report that I read, the biggest reason that that Rodgers is seeing those targets, Wentz is throwing to him in practice because Rodgers hasn't been hurt, so he
that's true.
trusts him. That's the
How do you
simple
not trust
answer to
Dallas
it.
Goedert? Like
Because he's not there to throw to, like he's not throwing to him in practice because he's hurt all the time.
is that
Remember,
why
he
throws to
missed
John-
like 5 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it was.
yeah, if you go back over the last 6 weeks, Rodgers is the only consistent.
Yeah, that's the
person
guy
at
that,
that time,
Wentz
so.
is seeing in practice.
Him
So
and
there's, but to your point with Jonnu, outside of week 6, 7, and 8, he's had over 9.5 PPR points in every single week.
Yeah, I was
Standard.
down on Jonnu, but he just keeps scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, and again, you're looking standard. That's what you want more than anything, are touchdowns, and Jonnu's putting that on the board. So
True.
Basically, what we're saying is don't make any rash decisions quite yet. If there's not somebody you need to cut those players for, don't cut anybody.
Correct. Yep. From Keegan. I think this is Keegan's first time. Welcome, Keegan.
Nah,
Trent
Keegan's
Taylor or Jacoby Myers? I'm kidding. That's not
I
Trent Taylor.
assume this is
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan
Not
Taylor.
Trent Taylor, but Trent Taylor is the wide receiver, slot guy for the San Francisco 49ers. But Jonathan Taylor, home against the Tennessee Titans, or Jacoby Myers home against the Arizona Cardinals at his flex.
There are two things I know about this game. Number one, Jacoby Myers is probably going to face Patrick Peterson, and Joe's taught me all about that.
No, he's not.
You don't
Myers
think so?
Myers runs out of the slot. He's not going to see Jacoby.
I was going to say, I was looking at that.
Murphy.
Myers is running over 50% of his routes from the slot this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
he's
was
going to
very
see Byron
surprising to me.
Murphy, who Byron Murphy isn't a great slot cornerback. So I think Myers should see, a decent amount of targets. Demir Bird most likely sees Patrick Peterson, and I
wouldn't be shocked if N'Keal Harry.
Yeah.
Probably, but at this point, what has N'Keal Harry done to prove to you he needs to see Patrick Peterson?
I agree on that front. And when I was looking at the numbers the last couple weeks, Harry has seen some routes from the slot as well. But it's like these are the three guys that they're playing. It's Harry, it's Myers, and it's Bird. And Bird is the one that's coming off the field when they do two wide receiver sets.
I was going to just make this joke to say I'm back on the Jonathan Taylor train, so it doesn't matter. It's Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Jonathan Taylor has the best matchup, and we saw what Nyheim Hines did to Tennessee a couple weeks ago.
12 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it just boils down to what do we trust that Taylor's going to see the snap percentages going forward? If you don't buy into that, play Myers. If you know
Myers is going to see the volume.
Yeah. If you don't buy into it, play Myers. If you do, ride with Taylor.
So I want to throw this out there. No more Rex Burkhead. Who do we think fills his role? James White. We talked about this last week. I said I don't like James White because Rex Burkhead is in the lineup. When Rex Burkhead got injured, I was like, oh, that sucks. It's about damn time we get to see James White.
And he saw a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like 9 targets by the end of the game or whatever?
That's my point, is James White is going to bite into Myers' targets. So just be aware of that. If James White is a free agent in a PPR league because people gave up on him, go get him. He has some solid fantasy upside the rest of the season.
I love that last week Joe literally said James White should be on no rosters, and now he's like, if he's a free agent because I told you to cut him.
Hey, what do the fantasy callers say? Be water, right?
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Because
I'm not busting Joe's balls. Just the irony of the last 7 days.
It is 100% irony because last week I said cut him. Yep. But I said cut him because Rex Burkhead's stealing all his targets. Rex Burkhead's on IR.
Yeah.
So now it's like it's James White's season.
But back to the question, I'm going Jonathan Taylor for sure.
Correct, Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor's one of my guys this week. So yeah.
JT. All right.
I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm going down with that ship.
There you go.
From our new buddy Blake, who's going to join us every week, and I'm going to call him BB. Blake BB. All right, which QB does he start? Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Taysom Hill. Tom Brady is at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Ben Roethlisberger, obviously Tuesday night, and Taysom Hill is in Denver.
Give me Brady.
Man, I never thought I would say this, but if you need a safe floor, go Taysom Hill. Tom Brady has looked like crap since they put Antonio Brown in that lineup.
But
he has looked bad.
Did you know that Tom Brady is 3-0 at home when he isn't favored against the spread?
Did you know that he's 1-3 in primetime games this week or this year? And I know this isn't prime time. I get that, but it's still a prime matchup. So,
but did you know he's 3-0 against the spread when he's the underdog at home, Joshua? Listen, I'm still going Brady.
I said if you need a safe floor. I didn't say I would start Hill over Brady. This all depends on your lineup, Blake. I think Brady probably is the no-brainer start. I'm just saying what I've seen over the last 3 weeks with Antonio Brown in that lineup, I feel like he's trying to force him the football, and they've gotten away from everything that worked over the first 8 weeks of the season for them.
Of course they're trying to feed AB the football. Tom Brady said, I need to get him the football.
Yeah.
That's that simple. Tom Brady.
And it doesn't help that their running game is doing that offense zero favors.
No.
I mean, it's either 200 yards or 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and they're not running against Kansas City. So
Tom Brady, they're going to have to throw the football to stay in the game. It's that simple. They have to throw the football to stay in the game.
Yeah. With Brady, you have to weather the turnovers at this point. And this was one thing that I said going into the season. For QBs in their first year learning Bruce Arians systems, they average 20. It's at minimum 20 turnovers, and you're starting to see those turnovers start to creep up with Tom Brady.
Yep.
And he says too, is in a 2 QB league. He has Derek Carr and Tom Brady starting so far. So I think you stay with that. Derek Carr,
I think you do, because Carr doesn't have the upside.
Carr doesn't have the upside, but he has a solid floor. And look, he's
so you don't need
Atlanta.
the Taysom Hill floor. So you can shoot for the upside with Brady.
Yeah, so I go Brady. Yep. And he also says, does he play it safe? Start Devontae Parker against the Jets, or risk it and start Deontay Johnson on Tuesday?
Parker, great matchup.
I was going to say, I think if Fitzpatrick plays, Parker's stock goes even higher.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I like Parker a lot more this week with Fitzpatrick in the lineup versus if they do end up starting Tua.
I am firmly against gambling on these Tuesday games. I immediately took I'm benching Mark Andrews. I benched every player from those games. So.
I mean, to be fair, I was benching Mark Andrews before Lamar got ruled out.
No matter what the name is, I'm benching them this week. I pulled Deontay Johnson out of lineups. I don't play that game. I'm not going to go into Tuesday and have nobody.
As the ultimate Deontay Johnson truther, I am begrudgingly sitting Deontay Johnson because I just don't trust the Tuesday setup. And
plus, I like Parker this week. So
Yep. Throw it up for Devontae Parker. From Matt over on YouTube, Nelson Aguilar, Debo Samuel, Jarvis Landry.
I'm not messing with Samuel at all. So
to me, this is easy. It's Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, Nelson Aguilar is my low roster guy. We're going to talk about later. It's Aguilar for me.
He's good for a 40-plus yard touchdown. Easy. Against that secondary?
Yeah, I don't hate Aguilar. Landry, again, it's a good matchup, but they're just not throwing the football.
I think they're in this game, they're going to run it so much. They have no reason not to. Well, the Jaguars lost Josh Allen on defense. There's a lot going against Jacksonville in this game. So,
you mean?
Oh, talking about Landry.
They're playing Atlanta. Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about how Landry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'm saying the Browns have no reason to pass the ball this week. They could run the ball literally 40 times, and Landry might see 5.
They could run for 400 yards this week, and they've got the running backs that are capable of doing that.
I think I had Landry as my upside receiver, and I said they're not going to throw the football a lot, but you just got to hope Landry catches all of his 5 targets for 50 yards and hope one of them ends up in the end zone.
That's perfect. Yep.
That's what you have to
do. And I mean, it's definitely possible that can happen, but I'm just saying the likelihood just hasn't been there this season. Yeah,
very small. I think Landry catches 5 balls for 50 yards, and hopefully one of them's in the end zone. That's what I'm hoping for in my upside receiver this week. But then Fusion throws in. Apparently, the Steelers are expecting more positive COVID tests today. So if that happens,
how many of the Steelers had heading into
that? Okay, so I'm going to say a comment that's not nice, but the Steelers have been assholes about how they keep getting screwed over by COVID. So if they pop with more tests today, fuck them, because my God, they have been such pricks about how they're getting screwed over.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the gripes, a bye week. They shouldn't be having to practice. I get it.
But now they're bitch. Oh, we lost our prime time game. Shut the fuck up. You got 2 extra days of rest is what you got. And you got to eat Thanksgiving dinner. I don't want to hear
And how is Tuesday night not still prime time?
Yeah.
But hold on. Who the hell complains about a Thursday game being pushed back?
Yeah, Claypool,
every NFL team.
Eric Ebron. I'm forgetting who else it was. There was at least 3 of them tweeted about
Juju,
it.
I think.
So, Juju, yep.
I mean, I guess it's Thursday night on Thanksgiving. That's a cool
because
game to play.
Ultimately what it does is by having that Thursday game, they were going to have a mini bye going into next week.
Yeah.
That's where the gripe.
Oh, okay. I guess. Okay, I was not.
Because they had 13 days to practice.
Yeah. Okay, my apologies. I wasn't looking at it that way, but still, if they have tests now, fuck them. So,
I think it's ridiculous that fake 10-0 team. They should not be undefeated. It pisses me off.
I won't go that far. That defense is nice.
Their secondary can be beat.
They've been very.
I knew you were going to go to the secondary. I knew you were going to go.
They've been very bend don't break.
Yeah,
they were a better defense last year. I will say that.
Yes,
they were much better last year.
Everyone in the secondary.
And again, I'm not saying that they're bad this year. They're still a good defense. They are still a top, I wager 7-5 even defense. They're still good. They create turnovers. Yeah. But they're a bend, don't break defense.
Yeah.
Correct. They can be beat. It's very simple. They can be beat. And so Blake throws in his roster this week is Carr and Brady, Josh Jacobs, James Robinson, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Devontae Parker, Hawkinson, and his kicker is Mr. Goggles, Rodrigo Blankenship. And then he already had the Washington football team's defense, which I'm sure put up like 35 points for you or something. But I mean, you have
Hawk didn't have a bad tight end week. He didn't get in the end zone for you, but 89 yards or whatever. So
13 points. Yeah. Wait, this is standard. So
yeah,
6 maybe.
No, I don't think this was the standard. This is the 2 QB. I don't know if he's the standard. So
yeah, but
you got a great lineup. Robinson worries me because the Browns can key on him. So
doesn't worry me one bit because they're going to feed him the football regardless. And again, he's their receiving back too, and that's what Glennon throws to. So I think his floor is very safe with just even receptions.
Not that it matters much, but Dario Gombale is questionable, so that could be 1 or 2 more targets. Well, he is getting targeted slightly in the passing game. That could be more targets heading back to Robinson is what I'm getting at. So
yeah, and he did say it's a 2 QB standard league.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you have the stack with Brady and Evans, so if that's a touchdown, that's nice. You technically have a stack with Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs if it's a reception touchdown.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have Keenan Allen. He's guaranteed 37 targets.
Yeah.
So
and this is a week where he's going to blow up again.
Thanks, Joe.
Here for you. He would do nothing for me. He would literally do. Yep. You beat me 216 to 107. I could have had the 85 Bears defense and the greatest team of all time, and still lost by 50 points. So every single one of my players could have had their best week of the season. I still would have lost by a minimum 20 points.
And Blake, I'm feeling you on lost Joe Burrow. I had Joe Burrow in so many leagues.
I'm in one, but still, that hurts.
I have Joe Burrow in the league. I'm in first place, so that really hurt.
Yeah, I have him in 2 leagues where I'm first or second place, and I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I lose Burrow, and now I have to ride with Carson Wentz. That hurts.
I'm lucky that I have Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, and Devontae Adams as my receivers. So I, can rely on them a little bit, but Zeke fucked me over on Thursday. So I was able to pick up though Daniel Jones and the Giants defense. So I'm very happy about that. Yes, very, very happy about that.
Yeah, I like that.
Alert just came through. Doug Peterson does not believe that Zach Ertz will be playing this week.
Okay.
Cool. Fire up Richard Rodgers. There you go. All right. We are now he's I love Blake. I love the conversation back and forth. I like guys like Blake. All right, he lost by 1 point last week. If only I would have started Taysom Hill or any other quarterbacks, I would have a W. Yeah. That's
to be fair, if you had listened to our show, we would have told you not to start Taysom either. So.
Yeah.
I would have told you to start him in the tight end position, but I assume
that's a good point.
And Mike did say 202 touchdowns. So
he did.
There was that.
Yeah. I said I knocked my tight end, upside out of the park, but on ESPN.
Yeah, but that's only. I was gonna say that's only on 2 platforms.
Yep.
And ESPN the most used platform. So
FanDuel.
Oh, did FanDuel keep it?
I don't know if they kept it, but
I'm going to
Hill
look
was eligible as a tight end on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said
ESPN is the most used platform. That's why
and they've taken that eligibility away mid-season.
They did, yeah. They 100% did. They 100% did. So and I'm pissed because my brother stole Taysom Hill for me. If I started Taysom Hill, I would have fucking won my matchup. But no, his bitch ass had to steal him from me. Stupid Gianni.
Brothers, the worst.
Yeah. What assholes. Yeah, he had higher waiver priority because his team's worse than mine. So I guess, I win out in the end, but I'm already secured a playoff spot. I just want to be the highest scoring team. All right. Now and guys, keep the questions coming as well. We're going to go through our low rostered RBs, running backs, and IDPs that I haven't looked up yet.
FanDuel did close the loophole as well, just like ESPN did.
Yeah, I think everywhere that had him as a tight end got rid of that.
Yeah,
it was a stupid rule or stupid to begin with.
I just don't know
take
why
advantage.
Tight end. Like that was just a bullshit call. He was never a tight end. Make him a running back.
He's always used more as a running back anyway.
Yep. I was about to say make him a running back wide receiver tandem. That's fine with me. But I'm like, how do you put him at tight end? So again,
it's over. Thank God.
Yeah, it's done. Look, if you took advantage of it and you won your matchup, congratulations.
Yeah,
I think I applaud you because that's amazing. And if anyone's pissed at you, say it's not your fault.
Yep.
You're playing by the rules. Not your fault. All right, Josh, low roster running back.
Well, we talked about him earlier. James White. Apparently, people took Joe's advice and they started dropping him. He's rostered in less than 50% of ESPN leagues. Obviously, Burkhead being on IR, the common thought would be that they'll utilize James White more in the passing game. This is a matchup where they should probably need to pass the football a lot. Arizona's offense is very high octane. Going through and reading Kira's cash grabs this week when she had Cam Newton as one of her value picks, which I know Joe doesn't really like.
I hate that.
Again, he is a value, so there's that. But
there's no value that comes with someone
shut up,
with
Joe.
shoulder
One
surgery.
thing
No value.
that she brought up was that in the games in which Cam Newton has thrown for an excessive amount of yards, it has been against quarterbacks that have the ability to run, but are also putting up heavy usage in the passing game, i.e. Russell Wilson. And who's the other one? Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So it's like that dog inside of him is like kind of raising to the top. Well, guess who he plays this week? Kyler Murray, who right now is the leading rusher amongst quarterback, and is also throwing the football very well. And he's like a top 2 quarterback in fantasy right now. So I think, maybe we'll see that going forward. Maybe not. I don't know. But I think it helps this week at minimum. So there's that. My bonus pick for this week, look at Brian Hill. Todd Gurley's been ruled out. Again, I don't think Brian Hill is a very talented running back, but the matchup fits. The Raiders have a terrible rush defense. They have allowed the 2nd most rushing touchdowns to running backs and the 9th most receptions to running backs. Brian Hill is utilized in the passing game.
Yeah, he was already being utilized while Gurley was there. So.
Exactly, and he's 2nd on the team in routes run. He's him and Gurley are both topped over 100 routes, and he has the same number of receptions as Todd Gurley and a higher yards per reception. So I don't know if they're going to give him a full usage like they did with Todd Gurley and just kind of spell him. My biggest worry is that they may pull Hill if they get into the red zone and use Kadre Allison to kind of snake those touchdowns because they have done that before. But we see what Todd Gurley's done in the rushing touchdown department. So that upside at least is there with Brian Hill.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, I know you talked about him quickly, but Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, true wide receiver 1 on his team. He's only available in more than 50% of leagues because people hate him from his time in Philadelphia. He scored 5 touchdowns over his last 7 games, 1 in each game. The 2 games where he didn't score was the bad weather game in Cleveland and the early blowout in Denver. He gets Atlanta this week. Atlanta gives up the 2nd most points to wide receivers. It's a no-brainer. You want to play him. Another guy to look out for, Sterling Shepard is only out there because they were on bye last week. This week,
Ryan. Time out.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor out Sunday because of COVID.
Shut the hell up.
Adam Schefter just tweeted, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor's out Sunday due to COVID protocols. Why did they do this to us?
Dial up your Nyheim Hines.
Yes.
Ah!
I have lineups to get into, a lot of them.
That is...
Oh, my God.
Bitch. Okay.
Well,
So
go get
start
Sterling
Jacoby
Shepard.
Myers.
Yeah.
Whoever asked that question. Oh, wow. That sucks.
Wow.
Fuck, that was a good matchup. Oh, that was... All right. Well, carry on, Ryan. Is Jordan
Sterling
Wilkins
Shepard.
Wilkins on Josh's list? Oh.
It might need to be now.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard's good for 6 to 8 targets every week. He's at 32 targets in the 4 games since he came back from injury. Cincinnati's trash. He's a top 25 receiver for this week and for the rest of the season. Go get Sterling Shepard, but son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch to Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Well, obviously, we hope he's okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Fuck. Oh, damn. That's tough. You hate to see it. All right. Well, no Jonathan Taylor. So if you have him in your lineup, make sure to take him out. All right. So my low rostered IDPs. I have a question for you guys. Who tied for the league lead in sacks last week?
No idea.
It was Cameron Jordan of the New Orleans Saints and Olivier Vernon of the Cleveland Browns. Josh may know that all too well. He was in Carson Wentz's face most of the game.
All over the field. It was,
3 sacks. New Orleans in total had, I'm pretty sure, 10 sacks. It was absurd. But Olivier Vernon had 3 sacks himself. Guess who's also out this week? That was out last week. Myles Garrett. Guess who Cleveland's playing? Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So at this point, Olivier Vernon should see a lot of time. He had 3 sacks last week. So at least in my league, that totals to 9 points. If you're in a sack-heavy league, Olivier Vernon's a must-get. But then he had 5 total tackles. 5 total tackles, 1 pass defense, and 3 sacks. He has 5 sacks in the last 3 weeks. He's been seeing a lot of time in opposing teams' backfield. So Olivier Vernon, go out and grab him. I actually just did that while Josh and Ryan were talking. At the linebacker position, Nick Kwiatkowski. He plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. The last 3 weeks, he scored double-digit points, and he's put up 13, 8, and 9 tackles, respectively. In the week he had 8 tackles, he had an interception return for 9 yards. He also had 2 passes defensed. He plays all over the field. He's a 3-down linebacker for the Raiders. And for my DB, this is just your weekly reminder to please God get Jesse Bates if he's available in your league, because once again, he scored double-digit points. Once again, please get Jesse Bates. That's my weekly reminder for you. But, there's your low roster IDPs. Big fan of Vernon this week. Big fan of Kwiatkowski. I already have Kwiatkowski in one of my IDP leagues. He's consistently put up double-digit points. I really like him a lot. And from Shades over on YouTube, he lost Lamar this week, so is it Taysom Hill or Daniel Jones? I'll let the Stream Master General answer that question.
I'm all about Daniel Jones this week, and I'm way down on Taysom Hill. So that was a pretty Daniel Jones is my stream of the week. I don't have my article in front of me to read off all the stats, but the long and short of it is Cincinnati is garbage. I think they give up the 10th most points to quarterbacks, and Cincinnati's in an even worse spot now where you're going to see Brandon Allen turnovers that are going to continually put the Giants in a great spot. I love Sterling Shepard. I love Darius Slayton. I even like Golden Tate if he's able to get his shit together and get out on the field. It's going to be a good week for the Giants.
Yeah. Daniel Jones. Yeah, I picked him up. Josh, I don't think you disagree, but
no, I don't hate Jones this week. I mean, Cincinnati has allowed 7 of 10 games this year, 2 or more passing touchdowns. The downside is that Jones has only hit 2 touchdowns 3 times this year. They're just not passing the football as much because it limits Daniel Jones's turnover opportunities. They've been utilizing. Wayne Gallman's looked good. Wayne Gallman has he's been a top 10 running back over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So I think that's kind of where the upside on the Giants offense lives. But I don't hate Daniel Jones because I think his ceiling is probably QB 11, which isn't bad. But I think his floor is QB 18, which isn't great.
I like Daniel Jones. I'll go Daniel Jones. From our buddy Lee. Crazy but serious question. I like crazy questions. He thinks Bill Belichick's philosophy of shutting down a team's main weapon in Larry Fitzgerald being out might mean a good week for Christian Kirk. He could drop David Montgomery and pick him up. Should he? Now, David Montgomery plays the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. Keep in mind, the Green Bay Packers have one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Also keep in mind, the Bears are the 32nd rated offensive line in the NFL. So he's running behind essential cupcakes as offensive linemen. So Christian Kirk, being the number 2 in Arizona, he will most likely see J.C. Jackson, who does lead the league in interceptions, but is known to give up a deep ball every now and a lot. So is Christian Kirk the play if he drops David Montgomery?
I don't hate picking up Christian Kirk. I like that idea. I'm not enamored with the idea of dropping Montgomery. Here's the thing. Montgomery has not been great this year. Joe, you threw out the stats. Their offensive line is terrible in Chicago. And Montgomery, I mean, you're lucky to get 4 yards to carry at this point. It's basically 2 or 3 and that's it.
David Montgomery's a good running back.
No, he is. It's just he's in a terrible offense. Yeah, he's in a terrible offense. But any able-bodied running back should be rostered, plain and simple.
Correct.
So
especially a starter.
Correct, and that's what Montgomery is. He is a starter. So I don't love the idea of dropping Montgomery, but again, if you're absolutely desperate to where you need a win this week, then yes, I would probably make the executive decision and I would make that move because I think Kirk's upside, even before the Fitzgerald news, I love his upside this week.
Can we, Lee, while Ryan answers, can you type in who your receivers are?
That's literally what I was going to ask. I'd like to know who you're starting over Monty, because it's not a great matchup, but you better have a damn good RB2 because Green Bay is a great matchup for running backs. But
so he just typed in. He forgot to mention he has DeAndre Hopkins on his roster. This would be more of a question: Christian Kirk or DeAndre Hopkins for this game alone. Lee, just type in who you got for receivers so we can see maybe who to drop for Christian Kirk. I have Hopkins as my downside. Stephon Gilmore hasn't played in a few weeks. Bill Belichick does not like letting top-tier receivers get the best of him. He will probably play high-low coverage on DeAndre Hopkins and have Stephon Gilmore shadow him the entire game.
Yeah.
So I don't like DeAndre Hopkins, but I'm at the point where Stephon Gilmore does tend to give up 1 to 2, decent plays that may make Hopkins, allow him to get into the end zone. But I have no problem playing Christian Kirk over DeAndre Hopkins. It's Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, and Adam Thielen. So you're not dropping any of those guys. So his option is to probably drop David Montgomery. So it's tough, right? So are you sitting DeAndre Hopkins for Christian Kirk? That's one. And two, okay, so you guys aren't. And two, are you playing both of them at that point then? Do you drop David Montgomery and play Christian Kirk? That's a big roster conundrum.
I'm not dropping a running back for a wide receiver. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's definitely not on my to-do list. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, so Lee, my guess is you have a small bench, if I had to take a guess, just because you got 3 receivers. My guess is you have a small bench. If you have a backup tight end, drop them and pick up Christian Kirk. If you're rostering a defense, which I don't think you are, because I know you listen to us a lot, drop them. But if you have a backup quarterback that no one's going to be willing to pick up, or a backup tight end no one's going to be scratching to get on the waiver wire, I have no issue picking up Christian Kirk.
Yeah. And I have zero issue starting both of them. I mean, I don't love the matchup for Hopkins. I know, Joe, he's one of your downsides this week, but when he went against the Cardinals, I mean, I know they didn't really shadow him with Peterson, or what the hell am I saying? Hopkins plays for the fucking Cardinals. Jesus Christ.
When he went against the Rams?
I'm losing my mind. Yeah.
But here's the thing, Jalen Ramsey doesn't shadow. That's the thing. He doesn't shadow.
I mean, regardless, it's still, you're talking about arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. I don't care how good. I don't care how good the corner opposite him is, whether they shadow him 100% of the time, 90% of the time, 70% or 50%. You are not sitting DeAndre Hopkins. Plain and simple.
I would not sit him.
You're not.
That's my downside, but I'm not sitting him.
Yeah, you're not sitting him regardless, because the moment you sit him is the moment that he's going to go for 120 and 2 touchdowns. So it's basically, do you roll with both Cardinals receivers? And I don't see an issue with that at all.
Yeah, and I'll go back to the week I said to sit DK Metcalf, who's been a top 5 fantasy receiver this year, against the Arizona Cardinals because of Patrick Peterson. Metcalf is not as dynamic as DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins runs the full route tree. Metcalf isn't there yet.
Yeah.
So Hopkins is going to be short, mid, and deep behind the line of scrimmage, running reverses, all these crazy shit.
They're going to find ways to get him the football.
Correct.
It's just one of those things where you want to load your roster up with high upside plays in the event that Hopkins has a stinker.
Yeah, I have no problem with Christian Kirk and starting both of them. From our buddy Sean, where you been the last hour and 15 minutes?
He was mountain biking, man. Come on.
He just got back from. Oh, there you go. Huge way. I didn't wanted to yell at him real quick. No, thanks for always supporting, Sean. Hope you had a good mountain bike. Huge week in the Standard League. He has Jonnu in right now. Do you roll with him? Claim Austin Hooper, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Jimmy Graham, or Mr. Robert Tonyan? I know that Robert Tonyan is Ryan's stream of the week. So who would you go with, Ryan, in a standard, Jonnu Smith or Robert Tonyan?
Evan Ingram, just because he's not available in as many leagues. So I would pivot completely. But again, that's my love for the Giants and Daniel Jones this week.
Yeah, we talked earlier about Jonnu and the touchdown upside, especially in standard. And really, he's only had 3 bad weeks this year. So, I don't like this matchup at all against Indy. At all. But a cheap touchdown is very possible.
Yeah, third best against tight ends in the league right now.
Yeah, but Evan Ingram, if he's available, you snatch him up. He's been very involved in the offense. The Bengals
and the right way. And the
right way. Correct. Yeah, and the Bengals have been absolutely trash against tight ends. So if Daniel Jones is going to take risks, it's going to be to Evan Ingram.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like Evan Ingram as well. I don't have an issue with Tonyan either.
Yeah, Tanyan's one of my plays this week in my start sit column. So
yeah, I don't have an issue with Tonyan, but I would probably go Evan Ingram, just a better matchup in general. From my brother, Raheem Mostert or Damian Harris this week.
I mean, this should get solved for you if Mostert's active. I think you play him. If not,
I think that's the way I was going to lean.
Yeah, Harris isn't a bad option. I don't think the matchup is great against Arizona, but the way that they've been feeding Damian Harris, I don't think it'll matter.
Yeah, it's again my worry is James White. Like, he's not going to steal carries from Damian Harris, but he doesn't have to steal carries. He just has to steal snaps.
Yep,
that's all he has to do is steal snaps. So if New England's playing from behind,
it's going to be a game flow, and that's the problem. But the thing is, though, with most players, it's about game flow.
Yeah,
but Raheem Mostert, is it really though? Because no Tevin Coleman. I mean, he's competing with JaMychal Hasty in the backfield.
No, Hasty's
on IR. Dude.
It's McKinnon. It's McKinnon and Mostert, and then whoever they've picked up off the street.
So he's competing with Joe Schmo, Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah,
Raheem Mostert's going to see
who catches the football.
Time.
Yeah,
he does catch the football, but it's not going to steal from Raheem Mostert snaps.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's still going to be game flow dependent. He's still going to be game flow dependent. They're a trash team right now because
they don't have Damian Harris.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's my point. So I would go Mostert because Mostert's still going to catch the football. Damian Harris is 1 catch on the season.
Yeah, that's precisely it. If Mostert's active, it's Mostert. But if you have to pivot to Harris, it's not heartbreaking.
Harris isn't bad. So, no. I think Harris is good for a touchdown. New England gets within the 10 and they, it's either him or Cam Newton. So pick your poison at that point. But yeah, if Mostert's active, I would go Mostert. 2 QB league from Sean. Pick 2 of these 3, Big Ben, Tua, or Mitchell Trubisky.
This situation could very well work itself out.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Game is 1 o'clock and Tua may not play.
Yeah, that's the thing is if Tua's out, you're pretty much pigeonholed. If Tua's playing, I don't love Tua or Trubisky. I'm not waiting on Tuesday in a 2 QB league to find out if I have a game or not. So
yeah, because if it's super flex, just play Trubisky and Tua, and then if Tua is pronounced out, switch him out.
I wouldn't even go that far. If it's super flex, you don't have to play a second.
Yeah, go play a wide receiver and then
play a wide receiver.
No, but that's my point. Is like if his wide receivers have a bad matchup or something, play Tua in the super flex spot, and then if Tua is pronounced out, put in a receiver. That's my point. Is I don't think Tua is a bad match. It's the fucking Jets. He doesn't have a bad matchup, but. If your receivers don't have great matchups, start Tua in your super flex and then switch them out. But if it's 2 QB, obviously you have to start 2. That'll work itself out. It may have to end up being Big Ben and Trubisky at that point. So, and then Sean adds in, yes, Jonathan Taylor's out due to COVID. Yeah, we heard it. We hate it. Don't like it. It's terrible.
Complain loudly.
Yep. And quickly, G adds, Sony Michel is back, which scares me slightly. He lives with me and texts me almost every other day about fantasy football, and I can't express my hatred enough for Sony.
I literally won't even bring him up anymore because I don't want to hear your mouth. So
it's like,
and yet he still finds a way to mention him and bag on. It's like Jared Goff.
He's so bad. Oh my! He's like the Blake Bortles of running backs. Yeah. He's terrible. Do not be worried about Sony Michel in the slightest. And then last one here, I believe, before we wrap up, from Michael, Jared Goff or Daniel Jones. He said he lost Joe Burrow. I'm going to put this out there. Jared Goff is my downside quarterback when he returns from East Coast road trips, he has never put up anything inside the top 15.
Jared Goff is
This
dead
year.
to me. Daniel Jones.
Yeah. But no, that's
right. I'm gonna pose this.
No.
Because again, he's talking about that he lost Joe Burrow.
Sure.
Rest of season, Goff or Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones is not terrible. I would still go Jones.
Yeah, can I look at the hold on, let me look at the schedule. So here, Giants.
And that's why I bring this up, because not everybody wants to stream. If it's a deeper league, streaming is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So if those two guys are available on waivers, I'm guessing it's either a 10 or 12 team league. So not a 14 or 16, but so maybe you have the ability to stream. But sometimes it's easier just to have those two quarterbacks, play the matchups, and then stream where needed. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up. Because me personally, if there's one thing I know about Jared Goff, he's going to throw for 300 yards.
Yeah, I take that back. Daniel Jones is terrible. I just went and looked. He's
So here's your remaining schedule. For the regular season in fantasy, Daniel Jones he has 2 road games in Cincinnati, in Seattle. 2 very bad secondaries.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff, home against the 49ers in Arizona. Could go either way. But when you look at the fantasy playoff schedule, Daniel Jones has 2 home games, week 14 and 15, against the Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns. They're not great matchups by any means, but they're also not bad matchups by any means, depending on Cleveland's injuries.
They're not asking him to throw the football all the time.
I understand.
And Jared Goff is going to throw the football.
I understand, so hear me out. In week 16, Daniel Jones plays in Baltimore. I don't like that matchup. Nope. In the fantasy playoffs, Jared Goff sees 2 home games and 1 road game. 2 home are against the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. In championship week, he sees the Seattle Seahawks. Rest of season, Jared Goff. That's not even a competition.
This week,
and I just checked.
Daniel Jones.
I just checked. He's also 5 points per game, 50 fantasy points better on the season. Goff is. So rest of the season, it's Goff. But if I need a dub this week, I'm going Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones this week, Jared Goff the rest of the season.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I felt the answer would be different. So
yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, I mean, Patriots, Jets, Seahawks. 2 of those teams have 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Patriots are hit or miss. Yeah. So with that, I mean, it's Jared Goff against the Patriots is going to shit a brick again like he did in Super Bowl 53. But
could be redemption. You never know.
That's right.
Oh, yes, redemption. Instead of 3 points, it's going to be 7.
It's an improvement.
It is an improvement, I guess. Again, that's like being 5 foot and listing on your Tinder profile you're 5'2". Like that's not really an improvement, but it is an improvement. And then Sean says, "You guys are the best. Thanks so much as always. I'll tweet you guys if you have any other questions, of course." And Michael follows it up. You guys are awesome. Thanks. I mean, way to inflate our egos even more than they already need to be inflated. But we appreciate it.
Oh, come on. The 2 self-described most humble men in America, right?
We are the self-proclaimed most humble men in the world. I will humbly accept that I was incredibly right about the Eagles receivers last night.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. So I added 4 wins in my downside column last week.
I only gave you 1 though. So
well, you're an asshole. So I did 4. The first person this year to get 4 wins in the downside column.
There you go.
Nailed it. Did them on one position group as well. All right, that is all we have for today. If you have any last minute questions in here, we can obviously answer them, but we're going to wrap up here. Let's see. What do we have this week, gents? Wednesday. We are back. Normal time, 7 p.m. Eastern, everywhere you're watching right now, including Twitch as well. We're back with Scott Simpson, correct?
Yep.
Scott Simpson on Wednesday will be joining, no pun intended. Then on Friday, we will be doing Club Dynasty. So for those of you interested in Dynasty Fantasy Football, we will be doing that. Just a heads up there. We will try and answer your start-sit questions or any roster questions you have, but it's all going to be mainly Dynasty focused. So any redraft questions will be answered directly in the chat, most likely. They will not be answered specifically on air. So you can save those questions on air for Saturday because, of course, we'll be back at the same time, same place. Starts at different days. Saturday next week, 11 a.m. Eastern. Everywhere you're watching right now, you can check back there. And Club Dynasty will be on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, correct?
Right.
That'll be with...
We've got Shane Manila from Dynasty Trades HQ, and I'm working on one more guest to kind of fill in since Ryan's wedding anniversary is next Friday.
Yeah, because Ryan has to be with his wife.
That's right.
Ooh. Yes, he has to go do anniversary and levy things.
Happy wife means I don't have to work.
That's true.
Except when you're arguing about which flavor of whipped cream is better, or which brand, excuse me.
Team Cool Whip forever. She literally just gasped.
Sorry, I'm with your wife. I like Ready Whip better. So
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I've had Ready Whip, so I'm on Cool Whip. But I do the whipped cream out of the bottle. I don't.
That's Ready Whip, you dickhead.
Yeah, that's Ready Whip. Cool Whip is the one out of the cup.
But no, the brand I get is not Ready Whip.
Oh,
like it's a different brand.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yes. So
I think you're still Team Ready Whip.
So I guess I'm Team Ready Whip at that point then.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
There you go. So I'll throw the high five at you, Joe.
Screw you, Ryan.
Wrong way, dude.
I don't fucking know at this point. I'm not in my apartment.
I can smell my lunch. I'm starving. We have got to get off air.
All right. Let's see. What did I have to say before we get off air here?
Here's Cash Rabs.
Tune in Wednesday. Tune in Friday.
No.
Tune in Saturday.
I'm still thinking. Ryan said he was hungry. So I'm just thinking. Okay. No. Cures Cash Grabs is going to drop right.
No, it already did. It's already
dropped. Okay. Cures Cash Grabs up on the website. Check that out for your DFS lineups. Everyone besides Cam Newton's a great pick in my opinion. Although she did have Jonathan Taylor. So don't do Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I got a lot of pivots I got to do.
Let's make the COVID update in there. Don't do Jonathan Taylor. So yes, check out No Pun Intended on Wednesday with Scott Simpson. Club Dynasty on Friday at 8:30 p.m. with Shane Manila, and second guest is TBD because Ryan's wedding anniversary. He will not be joining us. Starts at a different day on Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place. You guys know the drill at this point. For Josh, for Ryan, for myself, always remember defense wins championships, offense wins fantasy football. You can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy Week 12 in the NFL, and we hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving.